According to a recent study, the average age of a construction worker is 42 years old, up 10 years from 20 years ago. The average age of a construction worker was 32 years old. Now it's 42 years old. For every 7 people that are leaving the construction industry because they're retiring or getting too old to work, there's only 1 person that's coming in behind them to replace them on these different jobs. What we know is that looking into the future, demand for the construction industry is going to be at an all-time high. There's going to be tons of people that are going to need work done in any of the skilled trades. And what we know is that anybody that's capable of doing quality work in the skilled trades is going to be able to charge a boatload for the services that they're providing, because there's just not going to be enough people to actually do the skilled trades work. It's not even debatable, guys. There's going to be a lot of money to be made in any of the skilled trades. You're going to be able to make money in any of them. But the question is which skilled trades make the most money? And is there an intelligent formula that can help you analyze the right metrics so that you can figure out which skilled trades industries are really set up for maximum profit potential and which ones are, maybe a little bit lesser quality or maybe even not good business ideas at all or good industries at all to go into. So how do you analyze whether a business idea is a really good idea and a smart industry to go into, or maybe it's a bad apple and you should avoid it altogether? So this video is designed to help you look at any business within the skilled trades like an experienced, seasoned entrepreneur would look at it. The metrics that they would look at, the things that they would think about, the things that they would do, the mindsets that they would have in order to figure out whether it's a good idea in the first place. Because the reality is, guys, you really need to know whether it's a good business idea that you're getting yourself into before you go and dump years of your life into a business that you are going to pour blood, sweat, and tears over to make it successful. Also, guys, if you're new to the channel, my name is Adam Zwingler, and consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Right now, my business is between $1 and $10 million, and we are scaling towards $10 million with my business. And this channel is designed to basically take all the stuff that we're learning as we scale to 10 million, dump it into a YouTube channel to help other people in the skilled trades start with an idea and scale it to $10 million a year in annual revenue in the skilled trades. It can be done. If you're interested in learning how to acquire the skill sets that are needed to do this, consider following along. We put out quite a bit of content regularly. So let's dive into the meat and potatoes of this video, which is analyzing and understanding how to pick a really smart, profitable business in the skilled trades. And in this video, we're going to show you a simple way to analyze basically any company in the skilled trades and know, after a series of methodical questions, whether it's a good idea or a not good idea. And we're going to put out a list of criteria. And then after we put out that list of criteria that you need to think on, the metrics that you need to think on, we're actually going to put up 2 companies and analyze them side by side so that you can actually see how this framework can really help you understand which idea would be a good idea and which idea wouldn't be a good idea. Okay, guys, so let's pull up the framework for how I determine what industries in the skilled trades actually have the best shot at making really good profit. Also, use that framework to compare it to industries that don't make really good profits so that you can see the way that you need to think in order to figure out what industries are truly the best. Now that we've got the framework pulled up, there's really 6 criteria that we are going to use to analyze whether a business idea in the skilled trades truly has potential or not. So let's go ahead and work down through those 6 criteria. The first thing you need to know is how much can you actually charge? So looking at any business idea in the skilled trades, really any business idea in general, but let's just focus in on the skilled trades. You need to figure out how much can you charge. In the skilled trades, when it comes to services, you want to be able to charge a lot of money. Secondly, you need to look at how much startup capital you're actually going to need in order to get this business off the ground. And if you need a lot of startup capital, consider it a bad idea. There are ways to get creative in order to start something that might have a ton of potential, and on the surface, it might look like it's a really expensive business idea to start, but there are creative ways, which we're going to talk about in this video, on how you can potentially start a business for under $10,000. Profit margins. Guys, you really want 100% profit margins. Like, if at all possible, you really want 100% profit margins. If your labor and your expenses are are $5,000, you should be charging $10,000 for the service. You need to find a service that's really hard for customers to figure out how much profit you actually have built into the project. Demand, you really want to find something that has high demand. I'm not overly big fan of like a roofing industry company because, there is a lot of demand, but there's a lot of people out there that are doing it. There's also a lot of supply of roofers that can actually do roofs. So you're up against a lot of different people. Fulfillment. You need to look at in the skilled trades, and this is probably the hardest thing about the skilled trades, is fulfillment basically just means the labor it takes to actually do something. Is it extremely easy work or relatively easy to find people that are, they can be unskilled people that can do this labor? Or do you need highly skilled people and the labor is really challenging and really hard and people get burned out really quickly? So you really, on the fulfillment side, you're looking for extremely easy fulfillment. And then with deal type, ideally you want to move into a skilled trades industry where you can get reoccurring business. And you can't always do this, guys. Like there's a lot of skilled trades industries where, you're a cabinetry company or something, and every single kitchen that you put in is another person's kitchen, and you have to go find the next residential homeowner that needs a kitchen. And so you're constantly grabbing for that next customer. But your deal type, you really want it to be reoccurring or somewhat semi-reoccurring. And if it's not reoccurring, then there's just so much more effort that goes into the marketing and the effort that you need in order to go find that next customer. That's time invested, that's energy invested, that's marketing dollars invested. So you really don't want to get into an industry where there's a bunch of one-off work that you have to just go hunting again as soon as that job's done. You want to try to find customers that can feed you reoccurring business over and over and over again. And then you don't have to spend so much time in that part of your business. So these are truly the 6 criteria that you need to use to analyze different businesses that you're considering starting. You want to make sure that when you're actually looking at a business idea, it's checking the boxes on at least 5 of these 6 things. Now, it's really hard to find a business that checks all 6 boxes, but guess what? If you find a business that checks all 6 boxes, that's probably a pretty good business. I would say you need to look deeper into it, start thinking about maybe this is something that I should start because it seems like this could make a lot of money and it would be relatively easy to scale because there isn't a ton of people out there doing this and the profit margins are good and all these different criteria. Just if the stars align, guys, and you find something that's a niche industry in the skilled trades that can really make good money, I say there's no better time to double down on a business idea like that. Start to build a team, start to build the systems, and over the course of a decade, you will be rewarded for the really intelligent thing that you start doing now with this core video. For the purposes of explaining this chart, let's go ahead and analyze 2 business ideas. Let's analyze a donut shop and let's analyze a unique outdoor living space company. We're going to just put them both up side by side, donut shop, outdoor living space, and we're going to analyze which one is the better business idea. So the donut shop is nothing special. It's just your average donut shop. It just sells donuts just like every other donut shop. There's nothing unique about it. It's just like Dunkin' Donuts, guys. That's just what it is. The second business is a unique outdoor living space company, where basically what you would do is you would take these big shipping containers that come in on the big ships and are used for transportation. You'd get their old ones, and usually they're an arrangement of colors, orange, blue, yellow, whatever. You pull those off, you'd paint those black, you'd paint those unique modern colors, and you would turn them into unique outdoor spaces for people's backyards that they could either Airbnb or it could be a guest house on their property or whatever. But basically, you'd be charging $200,000 to build them a 300 or 150 square foot storage, unique outdoor living space that's set up through storage containers. So those are the 2 business ideas. Now let's run them down through the different criteria and see which one starts to shape up as a really good business idea and which one starts to look like a really bad business idea with this criteria. Let's go ahead and analyze the donut shop first. So how much can you charge? You can't charge a lot. Remember, a good business idea, you want to be able to charge a lot per customer. You want to be able to charge a lot of money in the skilled trades. Okay. If you're charging a little amount of money in the skilled trades, you are going to have a hard time making that business work or make it profitable. With a donut shop, you can only charge $1.29 a donut per customer. That doesn't really look good for the donut shop. Let's move on to the second criteria. Startup capital needed. Well, to open a a donut shop, you probably need 150, 200,000, maybe even 250, 300,000 to start a donut shop. You've got to get a store, you've got to build it out so that it's set up to be able to cook and bake donuts and make donuts. There's quite a bit of setup on a restaurant. I know because I started a taco company back in the day, and there's quite a bit of money that goes into getting, even just the signage alone, guys. Like, to create good quality signage on the outside of a donut shop could be tens of thousands of dollars just to get the sign out on the outside of the building. Once again, you want your startup costs to be very low on whatever business you start. Another negative for the donut shop. Let's move on to the next, profit margin. Donut shops, I don't know exactly what they make in profit margin. I did a quick search and it looks like sometimes around 20%. So if you're selling something for $1.29, maybe you're making 30, 40 cents, maybe, on a donut. So you have to start thinking about that. Those profit margins are not what I would consider to be a good business ideas, good, healthy, quality profit margins where you're going to make a lot of money, have a lot of money left over at the end of every month, and be able to reinvest back into your business and really start to scale towards $10 million, which is what this company or this channel is really all about. It's very hard to do that with a donut shop when you're making 20% margins, if you're even making 20% margins. Now, demand, probably low. Two reasons why the demand is probably low for a donut company. One, it's not a healthy thing, and more people are moving away from unhealthy processed sugar things into healthier options. Salad, keto diet, whatever it is. Donuts are not as popular as they used to be. And for every donut shop that there is, 10 donut shops in a city, or maybe that's an exaggeration, but I'd say there's at least 5 donut shops in every main city. So you're competing against the other donut shop that's right down the road from you. From a demand perspective, I'd say the demand is low because there's not that many customers and there's quite a few companies that are already doing it. So you got to spread those customers that you do have out over the other companies that are doing it. Fulfillment is, I'd put it as medium. There's probably an art to learning how to bake. You've got lower salaried employees that, or they're probably not even salary, they're just hourly, 15, 20 bucks an hour, whatever it is that you're paying them. And those employees are not real skilled. And so I think that the fulfillment is relatively medium in terms of how difficult it is to actually make donuts and learn how to make donuts. So I'd put it somewhere in the medium phase, okay? Something that would be easy would be the guy that stands on the road and holds the sign. He's a construction worker, they're doing paving, and he's holding the sign and it says stop or slow. And he just turns the sign and radios the guy at the other end. That's easy. I would consider this to be medium in terms of how challenging the actual labor is. Deal type, they're one-offs, okay? As a one-off deal type, that's not good because, as soon as your customer walks out the door, you got to find another customer. So it's not a reoccurring business model. You can't bank on certain amounts of revenue coming in every single month. So you can't control your revenue. If the economy starts to get really rough, your customers could decide to not spend money on donuts anymore. You are basically as good as your last customer and you don't know when your next customer is going to come in. Once again, another negative. So you can see here, most of this criteria is pointing towards this being not a real good business idea, okay? I wouldn't recommend starting a donut company, truly, for a lot of different reasons. And these 6 criteria point towards this not being a good idea. Let's analyze the unique outdoor living company. I don't know about you, but I haven't heard of anybody doing this. Now, there's obviously somebody doing it because I pulled a picture of somebody that built a storage container, backup second property on the backside of somebody's house, and you can see a picture of it right there. So let's go ahead and run this idea through this set of criteria, this framework, and figure out whether this idea makes more sense to potentially start than the donut company. So the first thing is, how much can you charge? Well, you probably charge $200,000. If you got $1 million or $1.5 million or $2 million or $5 million house, modern house on a property, you can bet that they would be very interested in having a unique, beautiful, modern outdoor living space like this on the backside of their property, paying you $250,000 to build it, almost to just flex. It's one of a kind. There's not going to be any neighbors around them that are going to have this unique thing. So they're interested in doing it simply because it will be unique. They could put it on Airbnb. They can make it a rental. When their kids come home from college, they can put the kids out there. If they have relatives visit them or if they have friends visit them, there's a lot of people that have the money to build a second property on the backside of their property, and they're looking for unique ideas. And this is one of a kind. There isn't anybody else out there doing it. So they don't really know what this should actually cost. So you can charge a lot of money to build these kinds of unique outdoor living spaces for people. That's a good thing. Your startup capital, I said it's 0. And here's why I think it's 0, guys. Once again, you got to think creatively. With this company, let's say you go get a customer. You get a wealthy person that's interested in having you do this. They agree to have you do it. And you say, I need a 50% down payment, or I need a 25% down payment. If they give you even a 25% down payment, that's 50 grand, guys. That's $50,000. You can go out and buy the storage container. You can buy most of the stuff that you need to start building that first one. You don't need money. You don't need startup capital. You don't need a loan. You don't need an investor. You can basically get the customer to finance your first project. And that's how you would do that. And that's why that's a plus for starting this business, because your startup capital is basically nothing outside of business cards and, your initial sales material to sell somebody on the concept. Start out. Your profit margins are probably ridiculous. Even if you spend $100,000, which I don't think it would cost, $100,000 to build this little storage container property, you still are going to have $100,000 of profit in it probably. Now, the demand is probably very high as well because there's nobody doing this. I think that if you look across the nation, there are probably tens of thousands, if not 50 to 100,000 people that would potentially be interested in building something like this if the numbers made sense and if it was something that they could really, really kind of like see the vision behind. Okay. So your demand is probably very high if you go to the right market for this. Your fulfillment, which is your labor piece, that's probably the biggest negative about this idea because you need skilled people. You can't just hire somebody off Craigslist to build you this. You need somebody that really knows how to build because this is a unique design, this is a unique structure, and you have to have somebody that has very good building skills that can think about how to actually build something like this. They're not going to really have anything around them to show them how to do this. So you need somebody, and the labor of it is probably fairly labor intensive. So, you got to figure out who can actually build this for you. And reoccurring, I said, this could potentially be reoccurring, guys. All you need is a couple of those builders, or even just one or two of those builders that buy into the vision and they don't want to build this themselves because it's so custom. And they say, if you can build these for us, we'll start you on one property and see how it goes. And if that one works out, we want you to build these on all of our properties or some of our properties. And then all of a sudden you have one customer that's feeding you reoccurring business nonstop. As you can see here, one idea based on these criteria, and if you use this framework, guys, you can start to take your ideas and you can start to figure out which ideas make the most sense for you. I want you to find something that allows you to make good profit because building a business is hard. Building a team is hard. Building systems, dealing with cash flow issues. There's a lot of things that are really, really hard about spending a decade building a company in the skilled trades. And to give you the best fighting chance, you should at least analyze the things that can truly help you make a lot of money in the skilled trades. Pick an idea that actually makes like a lot of sense. The next thing I want to show you is just a simple chart that actually breaks down what does the actual fulfillment look like in order to make $10 million of annual revenue. How much do you have to sell in order to get to 10 million a year? With the donut company, if the average donut costs $1.29 and you're trying to get to 10 million in annual revenue, well, you got to sell 7,750,000 donuts to hit 10 million in annual revenue every year. It just sounds exhausted. I have no interest in trying to run a company and build the labor force that you need to make 7,750,000 donuts. Now, on the outdoor living space, here's what's really interesting. You sell these outdoor living spaces for $200,000 a piece. You only need to build 50 of these outdoor living spaces to have a company that's doing $10 million a year in annual revenue. Building the process, building the systems, building the functions that you need in your business in order to have the team that's executing on 50 of these things a year, that is something that's doable. You can actually do that. Over the course of 10 years, you can figure out how to execute on the right systems and build the right team, put in the right processes to basically set this business up to make 50 of these outdoor living spaces per year. And you gotta also, one other thing too, guys, is you gotta think about how long does it take to sell 50 of these versus 7,750,000 donuts. Like you might actually, with this outdoor living space company, you could actually set this up in a way where you could set those 50 contracts up in advance and already have them booked with different builders and know that you're already building those 50 units before you even start the year. You could have all 50 of them scheduled with different builders that you're going to build them for and not even have to spend the year selling anything or finding customers. So let me take a minute here too to also just mention that if you are sitting here thinking about the criteria of this framework and you have an idea that's coming to mind and you're playing with the idea of getting started, just know that we also have a resource called buildupuniversity.com. And over there, there's a section of that website called Website Builder. And basically for $1,000, it's $1,000 right now, maybe that price will go up, but for $1,000, we can build you a one-page, beautifully laid out website with a gallery in there and your services and basically everything that you will need in order to get your business started. We can build it for you for $1,000, guys. And it takes us 2 weeks to build it. So you can have this website up and running for you relatively quickly. You fill out a form, it takes about 10 minutes. And once you submit that form, we can go to work on building the website for you. So consider coming over there and doing that. If you choose an idea and you want to get started quickly and you want to keep your startup costs low, but you know that you're going to need a website, this is a really good option. And you'll probably be hard pressed to find a cheaper option that will build you a really quality website, one-page website for the price point that we got it priced at. All right. So consider coming over there. Just remember, guys, two things. There's riches and niches. If you can niche down into something like an outdoor living space company where there's nobody doing it, that's what you want to do. Also, you need to remember that your business needs to truly solve real problems. Like I've seen a lot of people get into problematic situations where they start a business model that doesn't make a lot of sense because their business model doesn't solve a big enough problem to actually charge money for. You know, it needs to provide real value. You have to provide real value. You have to step into a part of the market and solve real problems and provide real value. And when you do that, the money comes. So that's pretty much all I've got, guys. Please leave some comments down below. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on this video. This is more of a foundational video that's set up to really help you get started on the right foot. And I hope that it's been valuable for you. It definitely took me a little bit longer to create this one. So if you see the value in this and you really like this video, please like, please subscribe. This one literally took me double the amount of time that most of these videos take me to really piece this together, think this thing through, and make sure that it's really valuable content that can help you choose a smart business. All right, on to the next.